Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to Renegade Mushrooms. We are going to attempt to grow some wine caps in a monotub. Alright, so we'll start out with our grow container first. We're going to be using the medium monotub from Micropose. That's the one I've been using in most of my videos lately. I really like the size. So, a couple notes here. I have the tub liner in, mostly because I'm going to be using some soil. And it has sand and grit in it, and I don't want it to scratch up the bottom of my monotub. All right, so I have 2 bags of spawn, around 8 pounds of spawn total, I would say. That's a lot of spawn for a tub this size, but we're gonna go heavy. We're gonna try and avoid contamination, get a fast spawn run, hopefully get some mushrooms. So this is the North Spore Winecap strain. Really easy to make winecap spawn. I just bought this in liquid culture syringe form from North Spore. Shot the liquid culture onto some sterilized grain. So once the grain was fully colonized, I just spawned it to some pasteurized hardwood fuel pellets, just using my standard hot water in-bag pasteurization method with mushroom species that love soil microbes like wine caps, bluets, almond agaricus. The spawn is going to do much better on pasteurized wood substrate than it will on sterilized. So keep that in mind. I've noticed that, like I said, bluets, almonds, wine caps, they do way better on the pasteurized fuel pellets than they do on sterilized sawdust. This is topsoil right out of the bag. Not pasteurized, not sterilized, nothing. Just straight up Walmart topsoil. Over here we have aspen shavings. So these are in most stores that have like small pet bedding are going to have aspen shavings. I've used aspen in several of my previous videos. It's a great softer hardwood tree that mushrooms really love. What I'm going to do is, I have plenty of spawn obviously, so we're just going to do layer of spawn, layer of topsoil, layer of spawn, layer of aspen shavings. Get you a close up of that North Spore wine cap spawn there. It's looking really nice. Nice aggressive mycelium. You're doing this method, you're just going for like even layer cake. You know, you don't have to be super anal about it, but just try and keep things relatively even. This topsoil I'm using has been hydrated to field capacity. Actually what a lot of people would consider a little under field capacity. So if I grab a handful of it and squeeze, it will make a nice tight ball, but I'm not getting a lot of water droplets out of it. So we don't have any drain holes here, so we want to avoid excess moisture, but we do want this to be nicely hydrated as well. With our aspen shavings, same thing. I just soak them for about an hour in some really hot water just to kind of rehydrate them. And that was it for prep, really simple. Get some aspen shavings on there. But because all my substrate materials are hydrated roughly to field capacity ahead of time, I'm not going to do any misting initially on this tub. It is going to produce its own moisture initially, but I'm just going to monitor that. It's really important to monitor your moisture levels when you're doing any grow, and just mist only if necessary. So eventually the surface of this tub is going to start drying out, and I will be misting the inside of the lid and probably also the surface of the substrate. We'll see how it goes. So just between every substrate layer, again, just adding another layer of spawn. Just keep building it up till you get to the level you want. So for the final layer of topsoil, which is going to be on the very top of the tub, I just mixed what spawn I had left in right in with the topsoil. That should help keep some of the contaminants at bay. So I'm using way more spawn than I needed for this tub, just because spawn's really easy to make for me, because, you know, I do the liquid culture grain spawn thing all the time. But if you do not, you would not need to use this much spawn. One sawdust block of wine cap spawn from someplace like Field and Forest or North Spore would easily do a monotub this size. So one bag would be fine. So once I had this tub made up, I just maintained humidity and allowed it to colonize for a few months. Didn't see any primordia happening, so I decided to add a casing layer. This casing layer I'm adding here is just the exact same topsoil, moistened, that I used when I made the tub originally. A couple weeks after I added the casing layer, the rhizomorphs came to the surface. So I went ahead and did a cold shock for 3 days in the refrigerator, pulled it out, then went ahead and gave it a cold water soak. It either fruits or it gets the hose. So this happened about 5 days after I filled this tub with water and did about a 3-hour soak. This mushroom busted through my top layer of soil here, just kind of my casing layer, and it's just been growing ever since. It's a beautiful wine cap. It's my first indoor wine cap, and I'm starting to think it may be the largest wine cap ever cultivated in a monotub / in captivity, because this cap is not opening up at all yet. It just keeps getting fatter and bigger. So I think this is going to be a big, beautiful fruit body. So I'm hoping, optimistic, that we're going to have some more fruit bodies busting through here shortly. Still have some nice white fuzzy mycelium. It's looking kind of chunky. So hopefully this isn't going to be the only mushroom for this flush. But if it is, I think I kind of figured something out here. I think the soak is the key, and maybe the soak in conjunction with a cold shock is what will really make these things blow up. All right, so it's only been a day since my last update. You can see how big this wine cap is. This thing's enormous. I'm gonna go ahead and pick it, I think, because this tub is about to blow up, I think. I can see another pin starting here. I can see some small pins, looks like primordia forming over there. So I'm thinking this is getting ready to make a bunch of mushrooms. So this guy came first, but I'm trying to maintain a high humidity environment, and it's not really good for this mushroom developing by itself here. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick this guy. It's cool, man. You can see all those rhizomorphs that were attached to the stem butt there. So I'm gonna eat this one, maintain high humidity. Hopefully we'll get a bunch of pins. I think we can go ahead and wrap this video up, guys. I feel like I kind of have these things figured out. So this North Spore wine cap strain just keeps cranking out beautiful pins, like 2, 3, 4 at a time. See, I have 3 big boys going here. Got another fat one that's just starting to poke through right there, and just have all this crazy like rhizomorphic mycelium going on. Can see more starting there. So I think this is going to crank out mushrooms for a while, and I feel like I kind of have them figured out. So I think we can go ahead, and I'm actually going to pick this big boy and show you what they're looking like. CO2 is a little high for this guy's development because I was trying to promote nice humid environment for these pins. It is a little difficult to balance the air exchange and moisture, but that's always the case when growing mushrooms. But I've learned a lot. I'm going to discuss what I've learned and how you guys can replicate this experiment. And then we're going to pick this big guy and take a look at him. All right, so all in all, really simple grow, guys. Don't need any really sterile equipment or sterile tech to worry about with growing these in a monotub. They actually prefer to have that natural microbiome in the soil. So all you really need is some wine cap spawn, which is really easy to make. So with humidity control in the lid, what you're gonna wanna get is some of these balls of polyfill. They're easy to put in, take out to either restrict air exchange, allow more air exchange. Generally, when I was allowing this to colonize, I had 4 polyfill balls in, so 2 on each long side, and then these top holes were open to allow some air exchange. I was in a relatively high airflow environment. If you were in a lower airflow environment, you could just, I would say, put a couple on either side here like this and allow these side holes to be open. You just want to watch the top of your substrate. You don't want it drying out. You want to keep a nice, even light condensation on the inside of your lid. for the colonization and for pinning. Once these things really start to develop, I would just take all these polyfill balls right out. Just leave all your holes wide open and mist as needed. That seems to be what works best. Once these pins really set, they're looking nice and chunky like these are, you're better off just having all your polyfill balls out of the holes and allowing a lot of air exchange. And I'm really excited about this. I think like wine caps are really easy to grow outside, but if you have some patience, it seems like they're fairly easy to grow inside too. And there's no bugs in these mushrooms. Like every time I grow these outside, I usually don't end up eating them, just because there's so many bugs in the stem. Like they're just full of fungus fly larvae. It's pretty nasty actually. So you can see all those rhizomorphs on the base of that stem there, and they're almost like little roots coming off the stem. Pretty cool. So I'm just breaking them, you know, kind of rocking them back and forth, breaking them off the substrate. That seems to be working out pretty good. It just heals right back up again. And you can take these stem butts too and plant them outside in some wood chips, or even use them to start another wine cap tub, because the bases of these stems, this mycelium regenerates really quickly. So this stuff's gold. So save these, you know, put them outside in some wood chips, start another tub, bed with them, whatever. But look at that, guys. Like, you will never see that in a outdoor wine cap this size. That is a perfectly unbug chewed stem. Now my worm buddies are still in here. They do make an appearance every once in a while. I've had 2 worms living in this tub the entire time, and they're still doing really well. They'll come up to the surface every once in a while and say hi. But this thing's just gonna keep cranking out mushrooms, and I'm just gonna keep eating them. Just a quick PS, guys. So it took me a couple weeks to edit the footage for this video, and while I was doing that, this tub actually developed a little surface mold. Not a big deal, but I didn't want it next to any of my other grows, so I put it out in the garage. I didn't have any polyfill in any of the holes. It was just wide open. But we had a few days of cool, rainy weather, so probably the humidity was pretty high out there. And now we have pins just blowing up everywhere. I can see like 15 to 20 pins on this tub. I have a bunch up here in the corner, down this side, and a bunch more there, bunch in the middle. So it's really looking like the pace of pinning is picking up here, but I'm not going to keep showing you guys wave after wave of mushrooms. It's not really necessary for this video. I will just post that in updates on the channel, so stay tuned. So that's it, guys. We're going to call it a wrap. I'm really happy with how this turned out. If you found the video useful, interesting, anything like that, please give it a thumbs up. That really does help cast it out there into the expansive YouTube metaverse. I always appreciate that. And you can always hit me up on Patreon too, if you're able. I have a pretty good Patreon community going, and my premium members also get a link to my Discord server where I can help you personally with your mushroom grows, which is really useful, especially if you're starting out. We're getting a really nice community going there too. So hit me up in comments, guys, as always. Let me know what you think, and I will catch you next video. It either fruits or it gets the hose.